Okay, hello everyone and welcome to today's session. We are sending our greetings across regions and time zones. Since according to the registration data, we have participants from more than 20 countries. This is a series of webinars where teachers from all over the world are able to share their ideas and resources that can be used in our classrooms. This is a spot where teachers can come together and share their thoughts and ideas on different teaching aspects. Let me introduce the founder and CEO of Start Teaching and Learning, the person who is passionate about our teacher professional development, the person who managed to unite teachers across the globe, and who constantly supports our professional growth. Samat, welcome.
Thank you very much, Eva. Welcome and hello, everyone. So Eva already kind of introduced me. I would like just to take your time, saying things about myself. So that's another webinar which we kind of organized. And we're more than sure that everyone from different parts of the world, from different countries, will find it pretty productive for everyone. So yes, we are the company, which we're actually a multinational company, and we are in this business for about 5 years now, and we really care about professional development of any teachers that actually deal with teaching, So just a few words. I'm really happy to announce that not long ago we started very close cooperation with different countries. And we've got authorized representatives from different countries, and I'm sure that all of them now here with us, they're watching us. So we've got Iran, Mr. Sayed Raza Molayi, we've got Tatiana Chilombi from Russia, Uzbekistan, we've got Nargiza. Then we also have in the capital of Iran, Mr. Akbar Ghaffari. Words really can't describe his talent and the way he teaches. Miss Elmira from Kazakhstan, and Tamil from Georgia. They are our authorized representatives. And Mr. Rahib from Turkey, and of course Miss Tatiana Ukina. She's the only and the main partner in Ukraine. So yeah, that actually it. And we do run really different international events, I'd say every week. And if you follow or visit our official page, you will find everything about our upcoming and already the stuff that we've already done. Eva?
Yeah, actually, I'd like you to know that we really have different kind of courses and different kind of events. As you might know, that we have annual International TESOL conference in Ukraine and in Baku, Azerbaijan, and also we do hope that we'll be able to run those conferences in other countries as well. Also, you might know about our educational marathon Teacher's Voice. We had it 1 month ago, and it lasted for 9 hours. And actually, we're going to have another one in August, which will be about back-to-school activities, where teachers from all over the world can share their practical ideas about how to make our transition to our school year as smooth and, I would say, practical for our students. Also, we provide international TESOL certification, which is 120-hour TESOL course, as well as we have a course for international IELTS instructors. And actually, we're going to have it just in 3 weeks, as far as I remember. Samat, can you?
Yeah, that's going to be on.
Yeah, and also we'd like to share our top courses for this time. The use of drama in ELT by Mr. Paul Harvey, who is TESOL Delta and Delta tutor. Also, as far as you know, we cooperate with Lexical Lab, Actually, Andrew Walkley is one of our trainers, and we have wonderful course. Actually, we had it before, teaching lexically at low levels. It was really amazing, and we are going to have it again. Also, we have a course like Sound Natural and Native, like by Paul Harvey. We have different kind of workshops. The next one will be on how to work on the Mira board. And after this presentation, we are sure we'll be able to add one more really nice and wonderful course by Sonia COOKE. And should you be interested in our courses on in getting authorized representation in your city or country, just send us your emails. As you can see, this is the email address, sar.teachinglearning@gmail.com. Yeah, and just let me introduce our speaker for today. Our presenter, Sonia COOKE. She's going to discuss with us how to transition, how she managed to transition, to go through the process of transition from offline classes to online classes. I'm sure she'll be able to share lots of wonderful tips and tricks and techniques and tools. So let me welcome Sonia COOKE. Sonia, hello.
Hi. Really great to be here. I'm so excited. I just want to say thank you, first of all, to SR Teaching and Learning for having me here today. And it's wonderful to see so many people from so many different countries all together in one place. That's really great. And so I'm really excited to do this webinar today. Thank you so much for having me.
You know, it's 600 participants have been registered for your seminar in 22 countries. That's really amazing, you know, fantastic.
That's really great. Oh, I'm so honored.
Good job.
Okay, so Samad, I think that it's high time for me to tell you. Let's share. Yeah, let's share the screen.
Okay, so I'm going to talk just a little bit about myself first to give you an introduction. My name is Sonia. I'm from England originally, but I've been living and working in Morocco for over a decade. I've been working as a teacher for a language center for the past 12 years. I was an English teacher, but I was also the director of events and activities for all of the 12 language centers across the country. So we organize different events and activities for the students. But I've also worked with a drama academy for the past 6 or 7 years. The drama academy is called Helen O'Grady, and it's an international academy present in more than 30 countries. And I worked as a teacher in the branch in Casablanca. And then around 18 months ago, I opened my own franchise. So now I'm the principal of my own Helen O'Grady franchise in Mohammedia, which is not very far from Casablanca. So that's a little bit of background. At the academy, we teach drama. It's kind of like personal development skills, I guess. It's the 4 C's, what we call creativity, collaboration, communication, and the 4th C is gone. What is it? The 4th C is creativity, collaboration, communication, and confidence. That's it, confidence. Okay, so so we teach these personal development skills through drama, and at the academy here we teach them in French and in English. In Morocco, the second language is French. In schools, and we start from age 3. So we have different age groups, so 3 to 5 years, and then 6 to 8 years old, and then 9 to 12, and teens and adults. So we cater for all ages. So if you're 3 years old, or if you're 99 years old, you can come and you can try out your personal development skills and improve your personal development skills through drama at our academy. So that's just a little bit about me and what I do and what I've been doing here in Morocco over the past decade or so. Okay, so today I'm going to ask to go on to the next slide. Today I want to talk to you about two projects that I've been working on. The first one is an offline project, but it's actually sold online. And when I was thinking about this presentation, I was thinking that a lot of the teaching that we want to do online, we really have to be able to know how to sell that to the customer. So I thought it would be interesting to show you how, you know, my offline project was marketed online, and maybe you can learn some tips from that. The first project was actually inspired by coronavirus pandemic and the closure of the schools, and then suddenly parents were homeschooling and having to organize the day, the routine for their children at home. So the first project is actually a pack. It's a printable pack that is laminated, and children can use again and again. So you'll see more about this. I have one here I'm going to show you. So it's like this. So these are the ones that kids are using. You can see it's got scribbles all over it. Okay, so that was the first project that I wanted to talk to you about today. And the second one is more of a blended kind of, it has some element of live online presence, and then it's supported by an offline pack as well. And as we go through the slides, you'll understand more about why and how and all those kinds of questions. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. While we're while I'm presenting, what I thought would be interesting is instead of giving you the tips at the end, I thought maybe you could think about certain things as we go along. So as I'm describing the pack and as I'm describing how it's been used, or talking about the summer camp, there are some certain things that you can just kind of think about along the way. So for the first project, for the offline product, which is sold online, I found that these were the main kind of ideas that were interesting to think about. So the first one is marketing. The next one, parent appeal. Also, what would work for customers? We have to think about what kinds of thing would work, what kinds of thing would not work. The next one is about the practical aspects. Is it practical? Is it accessible? Will people use it? And then kind of, what to think in when you're developing. So this is a product that is an offline product that I'm selling online, but it can be applied to, if you want to start teaching online, your product, which is, your classes. How are you going to market that? How are you going to make it appeal to, in this case, it's for young learners, for parents, but just to your customers and clients and all the rest. So if you have a pen and paper, maybe just jot some notes down, and then we can have a little discussion. You can type in the little chat box and ask me any questions along the way. And we'll also have a look at the questions at the end. So moving on to the next slide, I want to just show you the project number one, which is these kids planners. And you can see here it says stay at home summer plans, and at the side it says 2020 COVID-19. As I said, it was inspired from this kind of lockdown situation where a lot of parents were feeling overwhelmed with suddenly having to deal with homeschool and having the kids at home all day and having to work from home as well. So this pack is the offline option with what we call asynchronous support, which is pre-recorded videos that are accessible online. So for example, in the pack, there may be a suggestion to play this game or to do this activity, but instead of the parents having to teach their child how to play the game, they can access on YouTube a 1 or 2 minute video that describes how to play the game. And that's me saying, this is what you do, this is what you do. and then that's the support, the online support for the planner. So what is included in this pack? You get the laminated planner. This is one that's been filled in by my daughter. She was deciding what she wanted to do today. And, you just use a dry erasable marker and an eraser. That's included in the pack as well. There's also a list of activities. There's a little list of activities to inspire the young kids to, what they can't think. I don't know what to do today. I don't know. Well, here's a list. You can choose from some of these. And then, as I said, access to a 1-minute video with tips on setting up and playing the games. So that's basically what the pack is about. But because the pack is designed for different age groups, we have 3 different versions available, which we can see on the next slide. Okay, so this is an example of a pack which is for 9 to 12-year-olds, and it actually comes with instructions, okay, because we want to try and make the pack as accessible as possible. We don't want to just give something and then people say, oh, what do I do with this? I don't know what to do with it. So here at the bottom of the pack, it's in French because it's from Morocco, but I translated in English on the side, and it has just the list of instructions of tips on how to use the planner, and just so that people get an idea that it's kind of flexible as well. So in the list here it says fill in the planner with your child. I'm not going to read all of this, you can read that, but what I found with my children is just before bedtime, when you read them a story, or you reflect on the day, it's really nice to kind of say, what do you want to do tomorrow? Because when you ask children, what did you do today? They say nothing. That's the answer that they have. So this kind of really helped to give the structure. So at bedtime, what would you like to do tomorrow? And then they can fill in, some ideas, and then ask them, let them make the decisions, and encourage them to try different things. And then once they've done one of the activities, they can check it off and feel like they've accomplished something during that day. And at the end of the day, when they say, we say, what did you do today? Well, we held a fashion show in the living room. I read a storybook. I watched an art video on YouTube, etc., etc. So then they really feel kind of like they did something, and that helps them to feel settled and happy and not bored and frustrated with being locked in during the quarantine, or just being at home during the summer, because now that the quarantine has finished in Morocco, I've started to sell these even more because summer holidays are here, kids are still at home, they still have kind of nothing to do, so they're very useful. So this part of the pack really feeds onto the accessibility of it, and how to promote that. Okay, and on the next slide, this planner is for a 6 to 8-year-old, and the difference between this one and the first one is that here we have the times, because I've noticed working with the younger age, they kind of want to, they ask, what time is it? So it was important for them to have the time. And on the other side, you can see a list of activities like, do an art activity, do a science activity, read a book, play Monopoly, or, play hide and seek. These are all things that kids know how to do, but when they don't have a structure or a format to be able to use to help structure their day, then they're kind of lost and they don't really have a lot of interest in it. You can see that the planner here has a unicorn at the top and a rainbow and the name of the child, so you can really, we personalize these for the customers. And then at the bottom of the pack it says, how was your day? And then we have some emojis. So if they had a good day, they can circle the happy face. And if they had like a boring day, they can circle the snoozy face. But when the child has finished, their day, and it's a really nice opportunity for parents and children to connect and say, so how was your day? And they can talk about it. And if it was a boring day, then why was it boring? What can we do to change that? So it's really kind of, apart from helping to instill a daily routine, it's giving children skills, life skills on how to organize and how to reflect and how to, make changes and adapt. It's very useful for them. Okay, so on to the next slide. I think this is the one for the 3 to 5 year olds. Yeah, so just thinking about the developmental stages there, how to develop this pack to suit the different age groups. So on to the next slide, please. Okay, so for the 3 to 5 year olds, they don't have those writing skills yet. So the design of this pack was a little bit different. They just had a kind of open morning, afternoon, and evening. And then on the one side, they had the choice of looking at pictures of activities rather than writing the name of the activity. So if they wanted to do sport, there's a picture of a little kid doing press-ups. If they wanted to play with Lego, then they take the picture of the Lego. And all of these are laminated and reusable. So they can just basically take the picture that they want to do of the activity that they want to do that day and stick it on their plan. So these planners are, designed and made for age 3 to age 6 to age 9, and the different, the different age ranges. So let's move along. I think we have a little note about practicality. Next slide. Yeah, so when I was developing these packs, I thought about, what would be suitable for and what would be practical for a 3-year-old, compared to a 12-year-old. So that's just one of the things that we have to keep in mind when we develop any product that we're going to sell online. And over to the next slide. What I did when I was trying to market and sell my packs was kind of refer back to, the experts, because when parents feel like you genuinely are interested in the development of their children's personalities and skills, etc., then they're more likely to buy in. I mean, for me as a parent, that is true. So in part of the marketing of these packs, I wrote a newsletter, which was for the Academy, which I posted on my Facebook page a few weeks in advance. And then when I marketed the pack, I referred back to it, to the newsletter, which talked about, how important it is to maintain a routine for children at school. And there you can see a photo of the dad homeschooling the daughter, and you can see a little photo of a boy watching a screen. And it talked a lot about, what's happening with parents being at home, working from home, etc. And so, according to experts, it says it can be difficult to maintain this routine, but these packs will help. And then we have a checklist of different things that the packs can do. So it's a selling point. So next slide. So this really talks to the parent appeal, which was on that list that I said make notes about. Okay, and on to the next slide. Another thing that is also parent appeal, if we can just next slide, is according to psychologists. Yeah, so this is parent appeal again. Psychologists agree that as long as children experience a balanced lifestyle during lockdown, they will adapt more easily when quarantine is over. So this was another thing that would support, the selling of my pack online. So whatever product you have, if it's a class that you wanna market, it can be teaching adults online. it's nice to have these extra things to just back up. You know, it's like the serious part of why you're doing this. It's the sincere part, and it really gives weight to the product and helps to market it. Okay, so moving along, going back now to the things to consider part. We have the first point, which is marketing. Next slide. Marketing. Okay, yes. So when you're marketing your product, think about the appearance. If you can chat, anybody would like to comment on what they saw of the pack? How did it look? What was the appearance like? Any comments on how I marketed it? Can you write to us in the chat box? Anybody? I was going for something bright and, you know, kid friendly, something that was easy to use. And where did I advertise? I advertised on my Facebook page, on social media, with parents that I knew, in WhatsApp groups, in groups, you know, online as well, that are related to education or parenting. I had to search for all of these places. So when you want to market your product, you're going to have to do the same kind of, you know, research ahead of time. Next slide. And the pitch is very important as well. You know, are you pitching it at the right level? Is this something that is relevant to people's lives at the moment? For these planners, they were very relevant. Everybody was, you know, they were kind of at a loss of how to structure the day. So they really came in useful. And then the next point, yeah, talking about parent appeal here. What are things to consider? The next point. Something that's quite important for parents is that you're sincere about what you're trying to do, you know, what you're trying to achieve, what you're trying to bring to their children's lives. And so something that's just there to spin money is not going to appeal to parents. And something that is backed up by experts, you know, psychologists and newsletters, or, you know, experts who are talking about the situation or talking about education, these are things that are going to help with parent appeal. And I have a couple of pictures. If you just go to the next slide. Think about what would work for your customers. Would you use this product? Is it something that you could use? If it's not something that you would use, then your customers wouldn't use this either. And also the age range of the kids, like I said, 3 to 5, 6 to 8, 9 to 12. Those are all different, completely different categories. So you need to kind of specify what is suitable for those, what would work for those age ranges. And the last part here, think about the practical aspects of accessing it. Like I said, with the 3 to 5 year olds, what do the parents have to do to make the product work? And I think that parents they do want something that they're involved in to a certain extent, but they don't want to have to do too much. So with my offline pack, you had the pack that all they had to do is kind of pick it up, pay for it, and give it to their child. And then they could access the videos which would help their child to use the pack online. And so what are things to consider in the developmental phases? What are the things? I think basically everything. You have to think about everything. You have to think about the marketing, parent appeal, what would work, the practical aspect. If you have any comments, let me know what else things could be, things could be to be considered. But you have to know your customer and your client. And I think that's one of the most important things. Okay, so I think we're going to move on now to the next, unless anybody has any questions. Any questions at this stage about the packs? We're going to move on to talking about virtual summer camp. So think about the marketing, the parent appeal, and all these things that we've discussed in the first section, because it really applies again here. Even though that was an offline product sold online, the virtual summer camp is an online camp. Okay, so let's see what it's about in the next slide. So I advertised my camp as a blended option with live Zoom sessions and digital printed support packs sent on email. So I thought about different things. I thought about how much time kids were spending online, and what my newsletter had said in my previous product about how too much screen time is kind of detrimental to anybody, not just children. So sorry, I just have some noise in the background. So yeah, so the camp, that's what it was inspired by. So moving on to the next slide. So this was my advertisement for virtual English summer camp for July. I advertised it as having fun activities in English. It's an English summer camp. And I advertised it as being Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, not the whole week, not like a traditional summer camp would be, but just 3 days a week or 2 days a week, mornings or afternoons on Zoom. And each week we would follow a different theme. So week 1 is space exploration. Week 2 is about pets and animals, for example. And I talked a lot about the content, you know, the vocabulary, the games, the songs and the stories, and the art activities that would be in there. Okay, so that's how I advertise. Moving on to the next slide. This is the advertisement for the August session. Again, we have the themes. We have week 1, ancient Egypt, week 2, monsters, etc. But the age range for the camp, and these were things that I thought about, how would this work for customers? The age range was between 7 and 12 years. The class size for an online summer camp for me is 8 maximum. And I taking into consideration again the aim, which I have written at the bottom, which is minimizing screen time and time online, as it's not very healthy for anyone. The Zoom time was split into 2 40-minute sessions with a break in the middle. So 40 minutes for me felt like the right amount of time that children are able to concentrate for at a computer, without any kind of distraction. So the start time, which is so the class time is 2 40-minute sessions, but the start time is from 3:20 to 5 p.m., which is a large chunk of the afternoon. And so the result is that the children feel engaged because they only have to concentrate for 40 minutes. But the time is, the whole afternoon. So it really frees up parents' time and gives their children, the whole afternoon to do activities. And in addition to this, it's supported by a PDF resource pack. So Monday they have Zoom session in the afternoon, but Tuesday they don't have a Zoom session with the summer camp. So on that day they can take things from the resource pack like crosswords or coloring pages or any other activity that was put in the pack there. And so the summer camp, one day is, I decided it would be an English lesson, but mainly in the form of games and treasure hunt and things like this that is exciting and doesn't really have the children sitting down at the computer the whole time, but they can get up and they can go away, come back, go and find something that begins with the letter C, and then they have to go and come back with a crayon, for example. And then on the second day of summer camp, we do an art activity. So we just take time to be together. And I think that's what a lot of children want, is just, they don't want to have a class, because they've done that all year in school and they're tired of that. So summer camp has to be fun, you know, summer camp. So an art activity where you're just spending time together and doing an art craft activity together, and something that creates a bond, and it's fun. It's fun and it's really nice. So I really enjoy it anyway. I know that. Okay, on the next slide. Okay, so again, things to consider. If you want to make any comments right now about virtual summer camp, go ahead. Any things to consider when we talk about marketing? Let's see what I wrote. Yes, is it attractive? Make your advertisement, you know, attractive. I used nice little photos. It was very colorful. It was also attractive because the themes were fun, you know, they were interesting. The other thing to think about is mindset. Traditional summer camp where, you know, kids meet from 8 a.m. in the morning till 5 p.m. in the afternoon, and they have trips out to the swimming pool, trips to the beach. This is not the same thing as a virtual summer camp, and these are things to consider. It's how to keep that balance of having fun, but also having minimum screen time as well, and backing it up with other activities so that the child feels happy. Okay, and what other points did I talk about? The pitch. Yeah. How do you pitch it to parents? How do you pitch it to the children? Is it about continuing learning English? Is it about having fun? Is it both? Is it about the different activities they can do online? You know, when I pitched it, I told them that for me it was important for children not to have too much screen time, and I justified why I had 2 40-minute sessions, but I also explained that it would keep them busy for the afternoon and that they would be busy on the other days. And you know, it was great. Everybody was really interested in this summer camp. What other points do we have on this? Parent appeal again. What do we have this time? Any suggestions? I said real content. So, you know, it's not just babysitting kids online, but you do actually feel, the parents feel that their children are learning. They're learning something from this summer camp. And they like to see visible results and child satisfaction. So maybe we can see a picture of a satisfied child. That's me. That's me. And the next picture. Yes, that's one of my students. So we did a space helmet activity, art activity, craft. We spent, you know, 30 minutes showing them step by step how to make the mask, how to stick, what to draw. We did vocabulary, and then at the end, I sent a picture to them, and then I received pictures back from the children who had a really great time. And I think the parents did too, because I think some parents were there helping as well. They had a good time. Okay, so moving on to the next slide. Again, is this the same slide? What points do we have? Okay, yeah, so think about what would work for your customers. What ideas do you have? What would work for your customers? The schedule is very important. You know, morning or afternoon? What do you think? During the summer, I think the afternoon. I offered both options, morning or afternoon. Everybody came back with the afternoon, but I offered both. So think about what would work for your customers, the schedule, the timing, the days, and having composite groups, which means that you have some children who are age 7 with some children who are age 12. They might not have the same language abilities, but we can have them in the same group as long as we have some activities for the children who have a stronger English so that they don't feel bored, and we have some activities for just differentiating our work, our lessons. Okay, what other points do we have on this slide? About accessibility and the practical aspects of that. What do parents have to do to make this work? Well, in the virtual summer camp case, they have to make sure that their child is logged on, has stayed logged on, you know, and then they can kind of leave them to it. If they need any technical support, they can be there. But I know that at the beginning of my classes, I do a little warm up on how to use Zoom and a little training for the children. So put your mics on, turn your mics off, put your camera on, turn your camera off, and we just practice using different things, how to draw, how to make stars, how to do all those things, so that they can feel like they're really interacting, and how to chat, so they can answer questions just verbally with the microphone on, or they can type me the answer, etc., etc. So what else do we have on this slide? Any other points? Yeah, so things to consider in the developmental phases. The difference between the physical classroom and the virtual classroom. There's a lot of things to consider when we plan our lessons. For example, in the traditional classroom, you would have the textbook, you would have the handout, you'd be able to kind of jump from place to place on the handout. But when you're teaching online and you're teaching kids online with Zoom, it's all about kind of games, things that are fun, things that are not too heavy, and you have a PowerPoint with many, many, many slides. You break down, you know, what you would have on a handout, maybe 5 or 6 points on one paper. You would have 5 or 6 or 7 slides on PowerPoint. So that's one thing to consider when you're lesson planning. And then, yeah, so traditional classroom versus virtual online classroom. Yeah, that's what things what things would be a challenge. And I guess technology would probably be one of the main challenges. And the main thing is to just keep calm. You know, technology, does it work all the time? No. Does it fail us? Yes. You know, there are many things about technology that are challenging, but there are many things about it that are great as well. And, you know, just as you can see just today, how many people are connected, how many countries. And it's just really great to have everybody here at the webinar listening to how I got online. It's amazing. So what points do we have on this slide? Let's see. Keeping calm online with technology, for me, and I think for a lot of others, you have to kind of seek out training opportunities, especially if you're not used to working online or using different platforms. It's basically about self-training. I sought out training opportunities on Facebook, other webinars, on platforms like education platforms like Udemy or MOOCs, massive online courses, Future Learn. I actually spent a lot of time, you know, learning how to do this, learning how to do that, how to, you know, make a video the best way, what to have in the background, how to set it up. And there's a lot of things that a lot of teachers have had to learn very quickly during this COVID-19 period to be able to keep teaching online. What else do we have on the slide? Any other points about technology? Yeah, it's always nice to have a practice run first, something that you've never done before. You know, you don't know how it's going to go, so try it out with a friend or a colleague and see what it looks like. And, you know, this is what we do in drama. In drama classes, we say that the way that we can prepare ourselves for different situations in life is to have a practice run in our drama session. So if you've never been to a rock concert, then you can practice doing that in a theatrical way. So in the same way that we learn things through drama, life skills, we can learn things through practicing with a colleague. Okay, what else do we have on here? Housekeeping. You see my little boy's waving, he's putting his hand up. It's nice to teach kind of rules, classroom rules to the kids online, housekeeping rules. What do we do in Zoom? It's similar to what we do in the class, slightly different. Okay, everybody raise hands. If you want to talk, raise your hand, and I will ask you to open your microphone, that kind of thing. If you see this, it means listen to the teacher or listen to the student that's talking. If you see this, it means I want to have a turn it's not my turn yet, but I'm waiting to take my turn. So these are all little things as well that can help when you're teaching online with young learners. And you can even make a little kind of infographic and send it out ahead of time so that parents and children can read through it together. And then there are no questions about what the classroom rules are when you start teaching online. Okay, what other points do we have? Just a couple more. Yes, when technology fails, which it's going to fail, you know, you have a bad internet connection for some reason today, your internet's not working at all. That's going to make things difficult. You can't hear your students, they can't hear you, your screen freezes, and you're doing an art activity, it's kind of difficult. So the main idea here is just to keep calm, ask your students to refresh, ask them to log in, log out. You know, I think everybody kind of accepts that there are gonna be some moments when technology fails, so it's not a big deal at the end of the day. Don't get stressed about it. Okay, and yes, very important, it's about deconstructing the traditional lesson. When you're lesson planning, it's not the same as when you plan for a class in the actual physical classroom. You're just going to have to try different strategies and be creative, you know, be creative, try different strategies. As I said earlier, you have one handout in class with 5 items on it. In an online situation, it becomes 5 or 6 slides on your PowerPoint presentation. Okay, I think that's it. Do we have any more? Oh, keep going. Yeah. When you feel like nobody's listening to you, because it's children, remember, and you will come up against behavioral challenges. The idea is that, you know, we're not really used to this. It's a new thing for everybody, especially for children. So even if it looks like children are not listening, they're kind of away from the screen, they're reading something, they're playing with a toy, just keep going, because they're listening to you and they're interested, and they will come back, because if they weren't interested at all, they wouldn't even log on. They like to have your presence. They like you being there in the background, and they're enjoying it, and they're learning a lot as well. Okay, so I guess, is it time for questions? Yeah. So my last screen is just my contact details. If you don't have time for questions now, which I hope you do, but if you don't have time for questions, or if you think of something a bit later, then you can contact me, my email. You can check out my Facebook page at the Academy. It's in French, mainly. If you speak French, I don't know. But there's some things in English as well. So there are my details. You're welcome to get in touch. Thank you so much for being here, for listening to me talk about how I got online with my 2 products for young learners. Any questions, anybody?
Yes, thank you so much. Really, it was fantastic. Let me check the chat because we had lots of comments.
It
This
was
one.
very fast.
Can you see it? The question.
Yeah. Do you use these activities often or rarely? Oh, well, which activities? I'm not quite sure, but I guess for the planners, these activities can be used every day, or they can be used whenever, you know, the children feel like they need that little bit more structure in their life, or when the parents feel like their children need more structure. For the summer camp activities, yeah, what I decided in the end, and what it kind of naturally fell into, was instead of having 3 days a week, parents just wanted 2 days a week. So I decided to have the first day an actual English lesson disguised in the form of games and activities. And then the second day of camp was stories, songs, and arts and crafts. So you could see today, well, actually it was today, we made a space hat. That was our activity this morning.
Yeah, the question. What about the prices?
Well, this is part of the pitch, I guess. For the packs, it's a one-off payment, and you kind of have to factor in, you know, how much time you've spent. I spent a lot of time developing those packs. So disregard how much time I spent and whether I was going to get paid for that. But it was really inspired, and I felt creative when I was making those packs, so I enjoyed it. But in terms of like how much the pack costs, like I have how much it costs to print, how much it costs to put the plastic, how much it costs for a marker, an erasable marker, because in the pack I have this, which is for the child to fill in, then I have the other, which is for the list of activities. But what I started to do is put on the back as well. Then it was only two elements and a marker and an eraser. So just work out how much it costs to buy that stuff, and then you can decide on your price, you know, what do you think parents would pay? What would you pay for that? And then pitch it and see what comes back.
Mm-hmm. Another question.
What kind of summer camp activities would you recommend for 16 plus students? I guess, yeah, my summer camp is just for children aged 7 to 12, but for teens, they kind of want something a little bit different. And when we teach teens here at the academy, the curriculum for the teens age group is very different from what we do with the 3 to 5 year olds. That's very different, and the 6 to 12 year olds. So for teens, I would suggest more projects, things that they can spend some time on. So instead of having a theme in the week, you could have a project and then assign tasks, but fun tasks, you know, things that they're going to learn and be curious about. One thing could be entrepreneurship, for example. That would be a good theme for teens, entrepreneurship, talking about business, how to set up your own business, and skills for maybe writing CVs, writing about yourself, whatever they're interested in. Maybe you know, a YouTube channel, maybe that's what they're interested in and they want to get online and do that. So if you're not sure, and it's not children that kind of listen to what you suggest, if it's teens and adults, then ask them what they would like to do. That's what I do.
Here's another question, like, what about assessment? Actually, I do believe it's about some kind of informal, or what kind of...
Yeah, for the assessment, it's important as well, because the parents are looking to see, you know, what have their child has spent the whole of July and the whole of August doing these summer camp activities with this person online. Have they learned anything? What did they learn? How can we assess that? So part of the packs that I send out to the parents the week ahead of the camp contains a review of the vocabulary and of, you know, the story that we talked about, comprehension questions. So it is a kind of an informal way to assess, but it is still an assessment, and it's one that parents can see for themselves. And I think that's, for summer camp, is the most important. And it's, like I said, it's different to standard curriculum, school curriculum.
For me, it sounds like it might be something like a learner's profile with different achievements. Yeah, right?
Yeah. I mean, there are different ways that you could add an assessment if that's what parents were looking for, but so far parents haven't asked, and I think it's because they can see the results. They can see
portfolio, right? Like a portfolio.
Say again?
Portfolio.
Like a portfolio. Yeah, well, they do have the PDF pack, which is, you know, each week they have this and activity, and what we do in class is in the pack as well. So they can keep that.
One more question.
Could it be adopted to all language skills? Like you're talking about the reading, writing, listening, speaking kind of thing. Well, in the summer camp, they do a lot of listening. They listen to questions. They do a lot of speaking as well because they have to answer. They do writing because they have to write the vocabulary, words. It's not a lot of writing, but it's there. And they do reading. They read the questions on the screen. I ask them, what does that question say? And they read it out, and then we discuss. So really, we are using all of the skills during the camp. Some children are too young to write. So it just depends, really.
Yeah, Rosie says that Deepak is a total.
Oh, thank you.
Rosie, hi, I'm really happy to see you here. She was
hello, Rosie.
Presenter just 1 week ago. She was talking about making phonics and pronunciation fun.
Yeah, I saw, yeah. Hi, Rosie. Yeah, I think a lot of parents have thought the same. They're like, oh my God, this idea is genius. I mean, I use it. I use it with my kids.
Yeah.
It works. It really works. So first-hand experience.
Oh, one more question from Mr. Lahsen. Just can you share
an adaptable version of the planner? I mean, I developed this planner myself, and there are so many different versions of planners online. So just have a look out there, do some research, have a look on Google, write in kids planners, you'll find loads of stuff. And if you want to buy one of my planners, you know where to find me.
Yeah, actually, yes.
Thank you very much. Can you put some other comments, Eva? So as you mentioned today, we had really many countries involved.
Yeah,
Mexico, Brazil, Philippines, France, Turkey, Morocco, Uzbekistan.
Yeah, you can see
Iran, Ecuador, Indonesia, Jamaica.
Hi, friends.
Hi from France.
Yeah.
Hi, Brazil.
Yeah, let's check. Philippines. Again, Brazil.
It's been really wonderful. I've really enjoyed sharing my ideas and maybe helping inspire some kind of online products. Hopefully some of the tips that I shared are ones that people can use and implement.
Again, Philippines. This one is
India. We've got from India as well. Indonesia, India.
Fantastic. Really great.
Comments. I saw lots of comments from Turkey. Yeah, while watching. Just I can't find all of them.
Mehta, by the way, is here.
Hi.
Yeah,
from Bushra, she's here as
Hi,
well.
Mehta and Bushra. I miss you guys. Hi, Indonesia.
Yeah, great. Ukraine here as well.
Yeah, Ukraine.
Yeah, great. So many countries.
Yeah, it's been really great.
Wow.
Yeah. Country too. I believe you mentioned this person.
Right? Yeah. I'm here. Yes, I'm here. That's me. Yeah. It's great, a big help.
Yeah. So it seems we should finish our session, and all the information about certificates and about the presentation will be included into the follow-up email. It will be sent tomorrow at about midday. Just check your mailboxes. Actually, you should check spam boxes as well, spam our promotions, because it sometimes happens. Yeah, and we have
for feedback. You can also email to our official email. So if you get some questions or any kind of feedback, you can email us, with no hesitation.
Yeah, you can send us your feedbacks, and we will post on our official Facebook page and official Instagram page. Okay, thank you, everyone. Thanks for being with
Thank you
us.
very much. It's not the last, at least. We're gonna have with Sonia in August. In August, we are going to have a short course by Sonia. So about the details, we will announce about them, on our official Facebook page or on our website. That's, I think that if you if you follow our Facebook page or Instagram, you will find all the upcoming events, and that definitely that we're going to have one with Sonia. Thank you very much, Sonia, for a really impressive.
Thank you so much. No, I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for having me. It was really great. And I'm looking forward to coming back in August. I can't wait.
Definitely, definitely. All right. So take care. Goodbye. By the way, for those who couldn't watch it live because of time difference, you can find that on YouTube. It's got free access for everyone. Okay.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. See you next week.
See you. Bye.
Bye-bye.